The theme I chose for this semester is Science, Technology, and Innovation. Science is an organized approach in acquiring knowledge and understanding the natural and physical world. It involves observing, studying, and experimenting. Science aims to discover and explain the universe around us. Technology refers to the application of scientific technology, tools, and techniques. It creates systems that fulfills our needs as humans, improves efficiency, or enhances our capabilities. Innovation is the process of creating and implementing new ideas into practical and valuable solutions. It can lead to social, economic, or cultural changes and drive progress in society. It's important to understand that science, technology, and innovation are all interconnected and influence each other. Scientific discoveries can drive technological advancements and inspire innovative solutions. Together, these three concepts play a vital role in advancing and shaping society by addressing complex challenges and also improving human quality of life. Chapter 4, Sculptures. So the Cycladic cultures, the figurines would range in height from a few inches tall to life size, but anatomical detail in all of them is extremely simplified, with broad shapes to represent certain features such as the nose or even breasts. But by today's standards, these figurines are very abstract looking and would not be considered realistic. They are stiff and corpse-like. In figure 4.23, we can see a figure of a man, very stiff in design, but much more natural looking than figure 4.2, and greatly resembling Egyptian art styles, like we see here. In examining both of these figures, we can visibly see the progression in design. In figure 4.24 shows that the sculptors are getting much more realistic and they're paying better attention to detail. Sculptors were probably competitive against one another in their attempts to create the most realistic human form, but they were simultaneously influenced by one another. We can see evidence of this evolution of sculptures throughout the years, such as the Renaissance period and Middle Ages, when the sculptures started to become hyper-realistic. The Cycladic culture figures had a profound impact on modern art movements. In the early 20th century, artists such as Pablo Picasso and Henri Matisse encountered these sculptures, and their simple abstract forms greatly influenced these great artists' work. We can even see the evolution a chapter later in chapter 5, figure 5.3, of a nude man, showing even more natural human-looking details than years before, with an even greater detail in face and hair, and posing in a more natural and relaxed way. In the future, artists may continue to draw inspiration from the Cycladic figures and create contemporary interpretations that incorporate elements of the original style. These interpretations might explore new materials, techniques, or conceptual ideas while retaining the essence of the Cycladic aesthetic. Augustine believed that singing hymns and psalms would make people less sad and bored in mass. So by creating more engaging songs, he thought it would make people more active. Augustine writes in his books not discussing music performance, but how music is a speculative science. Speculative science is when something raises questions about the ultimate nature of being and thought, which was very popular at the time, especially with philosophy. Ambrose realized that if regular people with no musical training were to participate with the choir, then he must create simple songs that have one syllable for each note of the hymn. He was able to compose each hymn of 8 4-line stanzas, which is a group of lines within a poem. His theological reflections emphasize on the congregational participation and exploration on the relationship between music, spirituality, and the human soul. They continue to shape the music traditions of the Christian faith. Today, non-denominational churches put their own spin on religious music that engages the crowd in a new way, making the music more enjoyable to sing along to and less formal. In the future, music in formal settings such as churches will be enjoyable to the audience. With AI on the rise, it might even be even more interactive. Motte and Bailey castles were the first castles built. Originally, they were built out of wood and sat on top of a hill. On page 361 of the book, it mentions how Crusades started to build castles out of stones to help conduct military operations and protect themselves from invasions. Castles were considered a military machine, with every part having a function. A castle would have 2 walls, an outer one and an inner one. It would have been most likely made from limestone, brick, or timber. Rather than using cement, they would have used something called a lime mortar, which is essentially the mixture of lime and sand. At the top of the walls, you can see teeth-like structures called crenulations. This was created not for decorative purposes, but to provide cover to archers on top of the wall. Castles eventually evolved to be palaces, which is what we know today. The design principles and strategies employed in castle architecture have influenced the development of the defense elements in military and fortified structures, as well as modern security-focused architecture. The scientific perspective, according to the book on page 488, by using their understanding of geometry and the sense of balance and proportion that geometry inspired, it greatly influenced the scientific perspective. The ever-evolving nature of art, science, and technology ensures that artists will continually find new and unexpected ways to fuse creative expression with scientific understanding. In the 15th century, the printing press was invented. The printing press was able to replicate identical copies of written work repeatably. The printing press is considered to be one of the most important inventions in human history, as it revolutionized the way that information was spread and had a major impact on society, culture, and the spread of knowledge. Printing has been an instrumental development in the various art forms such as graphic design, typography, and illustration. As printing technology evolves, artists and creators will have access to new tools, technologies, and techniques for forms of self-expression. Cultures that value curiosity and the pursuit of knowledge tend to foster scientific and technological advancements. When individuals are encouraged to explore the world around them, it fuels the drive for discovery and innovation. My major is communications. Humanities reflects ethical considerations in communications, and it explores the questions of morality, values, and social justice, guiding us into ethical decision-making and responsible for communication practices.